Sweet. Many of us want the corner office before we've done anything to get to there. It's a process. It is the process which owns us. The other thing I liked about him, and this surprised me, is that he puts together people who he can appreciate something about them, and what he tries to treat everybody on his team and in his like they are unique and special, that they have a gift to give. And I thought, wow, this guy has chopped down some of the best singers that I know of, and he has this underlying all of this, that he really sees that. And he says, when you share that with people, that you're really looking at them as a gift, and you're looking for their gift, he said, they feel inspired and treasured. And I thought, what a gift. What a gift if we could model those kinds of things. Now, he says things sometimes which are taken to be really sarcastic, and I have heard that a little bit when I used to be glued to American Idol for every time it was on. But if we remember this, what dream do you have that you could be a bit more patient in your development stages? If you remember that, then maybe you won't rush. Maybe you won't rush to the destination. Maybe you will take a moment and understand that the detour that you've just taken is for your highest good. Maybe you will remember and think that it isn't the world against you, it's the world for you. It is a world that really is looking at your highest good. Edwina Gaines, for those of you who know her, she's kind of the princess of prosperity. Princess of prosperity. I wonder if she uses that tagline. Edwina Gaines is a unity minister who actually goes around the country and teaches spiritual laws of prosperity. She is now in her mid-80s, I think. But I've heard her speak at Pacific Church of Religious Science probably about 10 years ago or something like that. And what I remember and like about it is that she had the fact that wherever she spoke, she wanted a green Cadillac rented for her. And the reason she did that was the image of abundance that she held, because she wasn't always abundant in her life. She did not start to become abundant until she had worked through many of the things I've talked about, the challenges in her life. I think she was in her mid-40s, maybe late 40s. She had been through a few failed marriages. One husband dumped her in Hawaii. Can you imagine at a paradise, being dumped by your husband? Took her money and left. So when you remember this, that she built this prosperity by changing her consciousness. And that's why she teaches this. But what she did is she envisioned herself as being prosperous. And what she did is she happened to pick the green Cadillac, because that was an opulent car, because at the time she was either without a car, she had a car that couldn't go 6 blocks without breaking down. But some of us have been there. You know, sometimes you need a vision that is beyond where you currently are. You need something that will help lift yourself up out of the victim mentality. Because we go there. Life happens. And when it happens, sometimes we have to remember and we change our thinking. And sometimes bringing a vision, what does it look like? What is that I'm experiencing that I'd like to see something different? And you can bring that into your vision. You bring that into your view. So what keeps you from your bliss? What keeps you from your abundance? You know, many people think it's about money. But what Edwina Gaines says, abundance is having a vitally alive, healthy body for the God being that we are to express through relationships that are joyous, satisfying, intimate, honest, and nurturing, and work that we love so much that's not work but play, plus all the money you can spend. So it's what you think about that keeps you from that, if that's one of the things you really want. Because abundance is more than just money, and it certainly includes money, but it includes many things. And one of the things it includes is a freedom of choice. freedom of choice is not about money. Freedom of choice is free to make the choices that you want that will allow you to live your life in a thriving environment. And it's really all up to you. Imagine sitting on a ship in the middle of the ocean and contemplating on the waters beneath you. You notice there's a lot of water in my talk today. Besides being a cancer sign, I love water, but I also love it because we tend to see only the surface. That is nothing compared to what's underneath it. There's all this vitality underneath the surface of the ocean, and we tend to look at it. And that's the way we tend to look at our lives. We tend to look at our lives as just on the surface, and it isn't that. All that you are is below. All that you are is within. And within is where your treasure is. That's where your source of joy, that's where all of it is. And when we want some kind of idea about that, they use a story in there, which I like, is that when you take a 100-story building and you lay it on its side, it's about the size of an aircraft carrier. And we have aircraft carriers that you see coming in out of San Diego. When my son was young, I belonged to an organization called Indian Guides, and the dads took their sons on board the Kitty Hawk. It was in Oakland. And Kitty Hawk was about to be shifted and refitted and they had all tear-out engines. So we took them on, and I don't know if you've ever been on an aircraft carrier. Some of you may have been in the Navy or something like that. You understand. It's huge. And what is huge is there's like, I don't know, maybe 13 decks above the main air deck, but there's another 13 decks below that hangar that has all this stuff that goes on. And yet when it's out on the ocean, it too can bob around. It's huge, it's magnificent, it can bob around. And if you're sitting out there, and I remember once my son wrote to me when he was he was in the Marine Corps and he was on a trip on a Navy ship, and it was a huge Navy ship, and there was one time the storm was so rough, they were not allowed outside the skin of the ship. What that means is they were not allowed to hang out near the rails or anything like that. It was so rough they had to be self-contained within. When you're bobbing around on a cork, hitting 30 and 45 degree dips and ups like that, you know the magnificence of the ocean. God is more than that. Think of that. God is more than that. So don't limit yourself. Don't withhold. So many people think they want more money. What they actually want is to be free to do the things that are important to them. And what are you willing to do now to step into your abundant blessings? Thank you.